Hello, everybody. This is Catholic Dad, episode number 265. Don't admonish priests. So, I'm talking particularly young priests in modern Novus Ordo masses or just typical masses within America. I don't know how the rest of the world works, but I suspect it's very similar. And what we have is we've had, since Vatican II, I would say, 50 to 60 years of a little bit of ambiguity within the church. And when I say a little bit, I mean a lot. Weaponized ambiguity that Vatican II kind of unleashed a progressive within the church and has made things just very confusing to most Catholics. And the thing is, we have an influx of young priests out there that are dying for the truth, and they got all that vim and vigor and like the zeal for the truth and being obedient to the church, obedient sons of the church, and they want to help parishioners get to heaven, and they are really their whole desire is to save souls, get them out of hell and get them into heaven. That's their whole desire, the young priests. So why do I say don't admonish priests? Because we got these young guys. And now typically, let me tell you something about young men. Young men tend not to be super alpha. They tend not to be super aggressive. And let's go back to Jordan Peterson on this one. Jordan Peterson talks about the lobster. So you have a lobster, and like when you have two lobsters, they do battle all the time, right? And so when two lobsters do battle, there's one winner and one loser typically, and the winner usually gets bigger and stronger and like stands up straighter and gets a big serotonin surge and feels like he can do battle in the future. The loser kind of retreats, kind of hunkers down, gets poor posture and goes away and becomes the beta lobster. Well, anyway, the same is true with human beings. We have the same risk-reward system as lobsters do, and therefore, let's talk about the young priest now. The priest, think about it. He comes into a parish. He's got 400 plus progressive parishioners, probably a 1,000 of parishioners. 400 are progressive, or whatever it is. There's way too many progressive parishioners. And the priest wants to actually get back to traditional Catholic doctrine, things that are absolutely right. He wants to get back to the truth. And so he gives homilies on, say, abortion, or homilies on contraception, or homilies on sodomy, or homilies on you name it, like things that you shouldn't be doing. And oh, by the way, he says, oh, by the way, hell exists. Oh, by the way, you might go there. You have to get the confession, all the other things, live a sacramental life. And he says these really hard things that nobody's heard for 60 years. And then all of a sudden, the progressive army of liberal Catholics jump up and they start attacking the priest. Don't admonish priests. That's my word to you, because let's think about the lobster. Young males are not particularly aggressive. Young males they haven't gotten their alpha to them yet. They haven't actually conquered the other lobster many times. And therefore, they are still in the point where if they get dominated by another lobster, they might actually withdraw. And so if you have a priest say something difficult, and it's difficult, everybody knows what's hard in a homily. When there's everybody in the parish is sitting there and the priest talks about sodomy, or the priest talks about contraception. 97% of the Catholic laity are sitting there contracepting themselves. So he's saying something that nobody wants to hear. And if he's saying that, that takes a crazy amount of courage and bravery and fortitude. And if he's saying that, he's trying to exert his dominance as the alpha lobster. That's what he's trying to do. So if he walks out of the parish community and a whole bunch of big, strong, angry, progressive, elderly, by the way, people that have already exerted their alpha, jump on him and starts yelling at him, well, you might actually push him back into being a beta lobster. Like, we're going to teach you a lesson, you're going to learn your lesson, and you're going to become weaker with time. And so what do you want to do? Like, what is your goal? Is your goal to have a strong priest that's concerned about your soul, that's willing to teach you the truth no matter what? Or is your goal to ruin vocations? That's what the progressive Catholics need to think about. If your goal is to ruin vocations, attack the priest every time he says something that challenges your conscience a little bit. I mean, if that's your goal, go attack the priest. Go yell at him and say, hey, listen, we don't want to hear that anymore in this parish, priest. We're okay with sodomy. We're okay with like divorce and remarriage. We're okay with disrespecting the sacraments and not living a genuinely Catholic life. Go tell the priest that, and then at least the priest will have an honest position of you. But if your goal is literally to get to heaven, I mean, that's what the Catholic Church is. It's a ladder to heaven, and the sacraments are rungs of the ladder. If your goal is to get to heaven, listen to your priest. And if he says something difficult, and when it's difficult, you say, Father, that took courage. As an obedient son of the church, I hear you and you're doing a good job. Just say that, because that will give him his alpha, give him broader shoulders, make him stand up taller, make him a bigger lobster. Because the last thing in this world we need are weaker priests. I mean, the problem with the priesthood today is not strong priests. The problem with the priesthood is weak priests. Priests are too damn weak, and most of the problem has to do with an overly aggressive, progressive laity that sits there and admonishes the heck out of the priests every time they try to do something traditional or something like genuinely truthful. And so I guess this is all to the liberal progressives out there. Don't admonish your priests. And oh, by the way, the traditionalists out there, every time the priest says something difficult, wink, give him a wink, shake his hand, and say, thank you, Father, for this strong homily. That really helps the salvation of souls. Just say that. You don't have to sit there and go, oh, I agree with you. Oh, you don't have to give him permission to be a strong priest. Just tell him you're happy he exists and you'll pray for his soul. That's all. Okay, well, this is Catholic Dad making you think about it. Please like or subscribe, get the Mass, and pray the daily rosary. God bless you all.